Right, here I am, obviously, because you can see me. Yeah, I'm at the Tower of London for a little change, but I do think that, you know, centuries and centuries worth of history is worth more than one look. However, I don't really have a plan of attack, as it were, in mind, so when there's a couple more people, I may just throw out some options as to the places. The weather may force my hand into indoor stuff. The things I haven't shown you yet include Edward I's living quarters, or a recreation, more accurately, but in the correct place and, you know, correct period furniture, etc. So there's that you haven't seen yet. What else haven't you seen yet? Inside the Chapel Royal, although I did a video on that, and then afterwards one of the beefies said, oh no, you can't film in there, and I was like, so maybe that won't be an option. The armories are, of course, an option. We've been in there a couple of times now. There's the Fusilier regimental headquarters. There's an exhibit on beefeaters and their history, or yeoman warders, as they're more correctly termed. What else? Oh, there's the animal, the menagerie informational. There's the World War I information tower, as it were. There's a lot of places. I do have to go into one of the shops, so you could also see the touristy stuff, if you like. Any preferences, anybody? You see the big cannon behind me there? There's another one over there. There's cannons everywhere. There's an elephant in front of me at an art exhibition. Bill, if he's here, I will stop, drop and roll right in front of him and ask him. Other than that, he's going to have to come to me, darling, because pretty big deal. This place that we have, which is older than your entire country, 5 times over. Martin, where you been, babes? I've been killing time for days and days and days. Yeah, Martin, I was just saying, there's torture, there's imprisonment, like a prison. There's a prison with like, you know, centuries and centuries old graffiti, because they had a hot minute in there. Mana, long time, you alright? Yeah, so there's all those places. There's the CAF. I feel like even that's a bit historic, to be fair. What? I need to start acting like someone who can't read without their specs. Oh, loaded for action. I thought I was an actor for a minute. I was like, no. I am. I'm always loaded and ready for action. Ready, willing and able. Not always able, but always ready and willing, if that helps. I could, if I so chose, get up and start walking, which seems like probably the dumb thing, because, you know, tour, etc. One of these days I'm just going to film and do a tour like a proper tour person, you know. But I do like the interactivity, as it were. Interactionness? Yeah, interactivity. I'm going with that. Right, but I can't walk with the specs on because I'm going to... Yeah, this is... Right, so now it's all a bit of a blur. Right, I wonder if it's mirrored or not, but it doesn't really, you know, just have to play the video into a mirror. There's some people recreating some historical shenanigans over here, but they look too clean. Do I flip the camera around? Yes, sorry if I have to give you the big finger. Oh, you didn't see it. Right. Hold up. Oh, they're Jacobites. Everyone's getting closer. Can you hear her? It's weird. She's speaking almost perfect modern English.
He is going to be executed tomorrow morning.
No way. Sorry. I know.
I have tried everything in my power to have him free.
She doesn't look like she's got that much power, to be fair.
There is now only one way to save my Billy's life.
Oh, shizzle. Can I be an accomplice to this stuff?
Executed, I went to his prison cell to say my goodbyes, and I took with me my maid, Evans,
Take the keys next
who
time,
was
babe.
wearing 2 cloaks.
No way. Here
and
she is
was
coming up
very
the steps.
tall. She said farewell to Billy, gave him one of the cloaks, and then left. Later that same night, my friend Mrs. Morgan
There's skullduggery
arrived
afoot
to
here,
say
mate.
farewell to Billy, carrying extra women's clothes. Then my friend
Sorry if you were
Mrs.
getting into that, but next thing, Widow Twanky turned up and a panto horse strolled past with the name Billy printed on it. I can't, I'm alright, thanks, basically.
Speaking fluent
But I got a
French,
feeling that these 2 cloaks played a key part. I think I've told you before, one of the quite famous escapes was assisted by a yeoman who fell in love with the female accused. She wasn't convicted at that time. She and a man had posed as husband and wife for some fraudulent activity, and I think it was like a long con thing. Either way, the guy, they had lack of evidence, which is stunning for those times because they just let go, yeah, you did. But anyway, whilst the gentleman was away, the warder fell in love with the woman. It's just the security was, by modern standards, quite lax because he just gave her a stick. He gave her a key to downstairs, but he gave her a stick to get out of her cell. She just put her hand underneath and used the stick to take out the little peg that was wedged in the crude lock. And when they found them, which they did, he was given the rack, not as a gift, but as an implement of his torture. But of course, they were caught red-handed, so they weren't trying to extract a confession. And yeah, just got tortured for fun, as it were. But the man and the lady, who weren't husband and wife, but were posing as prior to being nabbed, were chained to the then outer wall, which is, right, let's see. See that little tower there? That's the bloody tower. See the entrance there? So the people who are standing through and on the other side of that gate, at the time I'm talking about, would have been standing in water, as it were, because that was the river in those days. So the accused or the convicted or the condemned, that'll do, were chained to the outer wall as it was then, and that was it. They just left them for the tide to come up, which is a pretty horrific, if you don't mind me saying so, way to go. That round of applause you heard was not for me. It was one of the yeomen doing a tour. This building here is Waterloo Barracks, and it's called the Barracks because, stunning, I know, it was used as barracks. The First World War especially, the tower was kind of co-opted or volunteered, I guess, as a place of training and encampment for the newly recruited troops. Now it houses the Crown Jewels, but it didn't for quite some time. It was that building over there, which is now the regimental headquarters of the Royal Fusiliers. That was where the jewels were initially. Now they're in there. No filming and a massive queue. So, what's happening at the Great Michron? Yeah, I'll bring you in there next time. Come over. So, yeah, see that clock up there? That's not original. I'm just throwing it out there. But I love the gargoyles. I don't think you can see them. I'm so sorry. Are they gargoyles? No, they're grotesques. Either way, that clock at the back of the ranch, on either side, you see the 2 sort of bastions, the little turrety bits. So on either side of that clock, the Cray twins, which if you're not English or in love with Tom Hardy, who played both of them, they were notorious East End scallywags, gangsters, murdering types, you know, just a little bit. But anyway, they are the last prisoners to be held here in the, I'm guessing, very late 30s. No, hold up, I'm talking. Yeah, First World War-ness, they didn't turn up for they refused their national service, and so they were imprisoned overnight. But that was a bit of a... They were already quite hip and happening by then, well known even. So there's just humans I shouldn't pull that face when I say it, but if I just spin you around... They're just everywhere. Don't say anything, but I think we're full. Okay, so anywho, where was I? Yes, so they were kept in there. The building that, if there is no queue, because this is outrageous, I'm going to start coming early in the mornings. The castle, the tower, even here in front of me, which you can't see, but now you can. That's the Chapel Royal, obvious. Everybody knows that. Oh, here's a space with no humans in it. Quick. Over there is, that's, as we all know, a memorial to those beheaded, which was the more noble way to be executed, if there is such a thing. And that was ordered by Queen Victoria when she was having a little walk through, because of course she didn't live here. But 3 Queens of England are commemorated there, although Anne Boleyn was not executed on that spot. She was over there, near the clock. I'm going to sit down for a minute. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit down. So this building here, which is... I don't like saying it. It's Beauchamp. I'm not like pro-Francophile or anything, but it's Beauchamp. But let's do a little potted history. So, as we all know, in prior to 1066, it's almost 1,000 years ago, the king, for a brief while, of England was the last of the... Was he the last of the Saxons? He was part Viking, but his name was Harold and Godwinson. His family were the most powerful prior to his kingship, because he didn't succeed the throne in the natural fashion. But the king prior to him, so William the Bastard, that's not a personal opinion, although it's that's what he was called. Well, the French don't really admit that. Either way, William, Duke of Normandy, which is not in England, it's over in the Frenchy bit. He had a claim, slight claim. He also had members of Harold's family hostage or guest, guest unless they tried to leave, because he wanted to twist Harold's arm. Harold was, oh my gosh, my schoolgirl history. Harold was Wessex was a kingdom in its own right prior to this, but at that time there was a king of all of England. But the kingdom of Wessex, as it was now a dukedom, and Harold's father had been the duke, and that was the most powerful dukedom in England, not Britain, because there was no Britain. Cut to the chase. Harold was defending. He went down south. And he encamped there with his armies and waited for William. Prior to that, he'd gone over there like a bit of a dope, really. I don't know if he knew what he was doing. Like, he went over there, and William thought that he forced him to swear an oath of allegiance, fealty, i.e. fidelity, commitment to William in a church. And in those days, that was like big news. But not obviously, Harold did it. Although it was under duress, as we would call it now, because his family was hostage, and you can't blame a man for just saying stuff. Although women, you can. Either way, he did it, but he didn't mean it. He crossed his fingers, I imagine. And so William was a bit cocksure of himself. He said, "Go on then, Harold, you can trot back." When he got back, he got made king, as one does. William went spastic. I think that's a fair description. Like, he lost the ability to speak for a hot minute, like he was apoplectic. And so now Harold knows he's coming. There was no dramatic music, I imagine, but at that point of the film is when the orchestra starts playing. Harold knew this. Harold was a pretty adept and proven military strategist and commander, and he went down and waited at the coast. Poor weather, unfortunately, for the channel, well, unfortunately for Harold ultimately, prevented William coming when he ought to have, or when he wanted to. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the Vikings, you've heard of them, Scandinavia, so if you're not au fait with English geography, England's here. Oh no, it might be mirrored. If you think about England on a map, to the right, sort of parallel with the bottom part of what is now Great Britain or the United Kingdom, is France. And then, oh, thank you. Is it Adam? Sorry, I'm going to put my glasses on in a hot second. Above France and Belgium, there's a little bit that kind of pokes out. There's Jutland, there's Scandinavia, there's Norway, Finland, Denmark, Sweden. Right, back at the ranch. The Vikings turned up. What a bummer. Right, so they turned up in York, if I'm not mistaken. Was it York? We'll say York for now. They're not going to hear me say this because they're all dead. So they turned up. Harold knew they were coming. He'd been camped out down there, don't forget, for like long time. And it was England might be titchy compared to wherever you're from, but still a lot of walking. So he force marched his army, I think, 50 miles a day, whatever it was. He got up to York. He met the Vikings there. He routed them. He really did. They weren't going to try that again for a hot minute, although he'd kind of knackered his whole army, and he was now miles away when, you guessed it, William turned up at Hastings. And then the Bayeux Tapestry, people all got ready with their needles, all sat there on the sidelines joking. And it's such a shame. So Harold got all the way back down again via London, picked up, because there was no standing army as well at that time, I should have mentioned. There were the nobles, but they were only kind of contracted to fight for X amount of time per year, and they'd done their bit, and they said, listen, bruv, allow it. Something like that in oldie English. Saxon. Don't know. Whatever language they was all chatting, they said, nah, mate. So he picked up some more dudes on the way. He still marched the blisters, that boy must have had. Anyway, trotted his backside all the way back down to Hastings. So it's like 500 mile round trip kind of thing, on foot, let's not forget. And they fought very well. It didn't have to go in William's favour, and yet Harold took, at one point, they would have won. There was a rumour went around that William was dead, and his troops have started flapping, as we call it, and started running away. Run away! That kind of thing. But then he took his helmet off and he was like, no, or non, je suis ici, or whatever. I'm here, people. Boys, lads. Sweet. Something like that. Obviously, this is not verbatim. And once that happened, they rallied, and then Harold got an arrow to the eyeball, which is pretty, let me tell you, devastating, I imagine. I mean, people have lived, people lived from arrow shot. There was another king who got... Anyway, let's not get diverted. So, yeah, Harold was beaten, subsequently died from injuries sustained in 1066 at the Battle of Hastings. Christmas Day of that year, which is still 1066, William the Bastard and Conqueror was crowned King William of England, because in those days you just took it. Whoever killed the king, it was like chess, I don't know. You just went, yep, it's me now, bro. And so that was 1066. By not that long, I want to say not many years, it isn't many years later, that, not that tree, that tower that's the worst view of it I've ever given anyone, was completed, and that was the Tower of London, of which this kind of estate is now named after. It was right on the London Wall. So prior to... So the Great Fire of London in 1666, which was pretty close by, it started, and it devastated nearly all of London, which isn't London as we know it now. It's teensy little London. This was the centre of London for at least, call it 600 years. So because obviously the Romans had Londinium, but Harold built that. No, he didn't. William built that to cow and intimidate the Anglo-Saxons who were resident here at the time. So now England was in the position of having a nobility and royalty that spoke French, and they didn't, because prior to William's conquerage, we'll call it that, England was and its peoples were much more closely related to the Norse, and the Scandinavian peoples. Post William, it's all froggy, it's all Frenchy, European type shenanigans, and we all know where that got us. Where was I? Yes, so the centre of London was basically here for 600 years, in the 1660s we had a hat trick of madness. We had the plague of 1665, the Black Death, when a third to half at least of Europe perished in some pretty devastating scenarios. COVID was not a patch. So that happened. Luckily, the following year, the Great Fire, it forced the rats out with the fleas on them that were transmitting the plague, but nobody knew that anyway. But the third thing that happened after that was, of course, the city was rebuilt, and then we began to. So originally, like I say, Teensy, it was a walled city. Part of the wall is over there. The tower was built specifically on the not battlements, on the wall of London, which dated back to Roman, like I showed you before, a couple of centuries AD outside. Yeah, we started expanding westwards because, of course, it's only easy if you know the answer, but for people who are vaguely, watch the weather every day in England, the northwest of what was then London is as far away from the coast as you can get, because our coastal areas are to the east most closely and south. So we said, oh hey, these Vikings and the French, can't be bothered with them mob. So we started going that way instead, which was, it was all right. And then West London happened, and London got pretty big. It was a big deal in those days for there to be thousands. Now there's millions, and most of them are here, it seems. So I just went on a big waffle. Yes, the bakery at Pudding Lane, John. Someone admitted, some French geezer, not even under torture, just that, because there was a lot of anti-papal feeling, it was a Protestant gig at the time, and there was all that, all the mad papists are trying to whatever. So they were accused, and I think, just basically French people as well. They're always up for it, aren't they? To be blamed for something. But someone admitted to it. He said he chucked something or other through the window and blah, 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 blah. He said, honest, Gov. Turns out there weren't no window, and he was talking shizzle, but we still killed him anyway, just in case. Just in case he was a dangerous lunatic. It started, and because everything was timber, there were no real brick structures at that time. They came into being shortly after that, the Tudor period. Well-to-do houses were timber still, but with brick kind of encasement. But prior to that, everything was every property sort of abutted another one. There was no, when you go, I don't know, when I went to Canada, there's no real next door neighbours. There's just space everywhere. You come out, there's one building, and then you just, in the distance, there's their neighbours, and it's hot. I like it, but don't tell anyone, because love all the people and that. Sorry, I'm just do-si-doing through. Right, anyhow, that's a little potted history of London up to 1666-ish. I just realised there's no Gurkhas today. There's proper Busby wearing, I don't know what you call it. I do know what you call them, but my brain's just gone, what? The ones who stand outside Buckingham Palace with the big furry hats on? Those dudes. I've got beef. There's 3 of the ravens all together. Let me show you this nut testing his shoes out. You watch, he's going to stamp. Yep, that's it. Yep, the shoes are holding. I don't think he's making real effort there. There he goes again. The reason he's like a lone guard outside this property is this is called, I don't know if they've renamed it, but it's Queen's House. I think it's because Anne Boleyn stayed there probably when she was in favour as opposed to when she was about to get her noggin chopped off. Because, you know, men, what can you do? Anne of 1,000 Days is what she's called. Let's see who this is. I don't know. Right, on the end there, the furthest is George. That's a female. The one in the middle standing on one leg just to be a nuisance, so I can't see the ring. I don't know who it is, and I don't know who's got yellow. I'll have to look it up. But that's definitely George on the end. Not Georgie, not Georgina, not Georgette, just George. Just to confuse everyone. Even though she's definitely a girl when she feels like it. If this middle want to put his or her foot down, we don't know. That is a beast enough. If you want to see the size, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get too close, but yeah, they're big. They're the largest of the crow, like corvid family. The beaks on them are naughty. Let me just say, I'm going to go with naughty. They could, yeah, they're about the size of my thumb, I reckon, but much more pointy. I'm going to come to some questions in a minute, but yeah, I'll put your foot down, love. Let's see who you are. No, they're all on. Yeah, they're all on one leg. It's just that one's learned how to put the identifier up. Right, I will let you know later if someone reminds me in the comment section who has got the yellow ring. So, that's another thing. So, obviously with Norse and Old English mythology, which was sort of very similar, but we didn't have Odin, we had Woden, who Wednesday is named after, but they're basically the same dudes. It's like kind of Roman, Greek, pantheon type shenanigans. But ravens are associated with Woden, and the mythologized story of the residence of at least 6 ravens at the tower is that there were loads. And they were going to get chucked out, and I imagine that was shortly after. Well, at some point during the Christianized. Well, they were all Christian now, I think of it. Either way, they were going to get chucked out, possibly because of their pagan associations. Maybe just because they're a nuisance. I mean, they're not, but maybe the king thought so. But his astrologer, who obviously man to trust, said, no, bro, don't you know the story? If they all go, the tower will crumble, London will fall. So now there are always 6 in residence, but there are 7 because there's a spare. But the reason they don't fly away is not the dinners and the free accommodation. It's that one of their wings are clipped. Doesn't hurt them or anything. What it does do is affect their balance. So they can fly, but they can't achieve any great height or, they're just a bit wobbly. Which doesn't make them bad, because I get a bit wobbly, but not because of clipped wings, more because of, public houses, which I'm still going to make a video on. I can't be bothered to sit up now and see if she's put her leg down, the one in the middle. But yeah, right, so let's have a little look at the comments. Sorry. Right. I know, yeah, John Blake, that big column is called The Monument, and at one point that was the tallest structure, or the tallest, I think the tallest in London. And if you were to lay it on its side, which you wouldn't, obviously, but its height is exactly the distance from Pudding Lane to the Monument. Hold on a minute. The Monument. Yeah, so I think where it started and where it ended. So the monument has got beneath it like an inscription accusing the papists of stuff, but I think they changed that. I think they, I'm confident that they did, but they may have put it back now because we're all over it. You know what I mean? We're all over killing each other just for Christianity. I mean, come on now. So, humans, wherever you go, they're here again. I will definitely find out. No, still ain't put his or her foot down. Right. Anyone want to see anything? Should we go in Beecham Town? You want a bit of graffiti? The best bit about the graffiti in there, every time it makes me chuckle, is that there's some people in, they're all killed for religious reasons, mainly, basically, by other Christians. You know how it is, just a little bit of killing. But yeah, some of the graffiti is mostly Bible verses, beautiful Latinized scripture, and like better than my handwriting. I don't think any of them were stonemasons, but they got good at it in the 10 years or so when they were sitting there doing nothing, twiddling their, I don't know what they scratched it in with. And there's all different, people from all different walks of life. So it's all biblical, yeah? It's all like, not about me, it's all about Jesus and all that. And then there's two Italians. One of them, he just wrote, "Oh, what a miserable man I am." And that was it. I just think that's funny. He's just sitting there moaning. Everyone else is bigging up Jesus, and he's just like, oh. That just tickled me when I think modern Italian men. So if you're a modern Italian man, I mean no disrespect. Black cat, just more paganness. Ah, bless, it's got a collar on. I'll show you the little kitty. And the girl trying to torture it. Stroke it. So I imagine this cat is well aware of what happens if you go up to a raven. No, just the back of the child now. Okay. Seems strange filming the back of a child. There it is. Clearly doesn't want to be touched by humans, but yep, here she goes again. I could be a cat. I could not. I don't blame them for giving a little hiss and a scratch every now and again. Alright, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to go up onto the battlements and take you to... I could take you to see Edward's gaff. I don't know if you've ever been there. Right, you can all choose, if you like, Edward I's living quarters or the menagerie / World War I historicity of the place. Unless you want to go back in the Fusilier Museum. So right, option 1, Edward I's living quarters and associated views out the window. Option 2, the menagerie or information on the beefeaters. Option 3, I don't want to go up the stairs. Option 3, Beecham Tower with all which was the prison with the historic graffiti. So cast your bets, ladies and gentlemen, etc. If you're not bothered, I'll just make my own mind up, because I am a modern independent woman. Thanks Beyonce for that statement. Right. Yes, John, there is. And all right, I got you. Pocahontas is also commemorated in Bow. I think Bow Church in the cemetery. I've got a feeling she was chucked in, because you'd be forgiven for thinking it was just a Disney princess kind of thing, but no, real peeps. We can go and look at the soldiers and make faces at them in a minute, but right, John's in the lead here. You're all slacking in, so let's just start walking to Edward's gaff, because it's not like, they do chuck out eventually, starting with me, but yeah, let's have a butcher's. I've seen all of, I don't know that I have, but yeah, I've seen a lot of it, but it doesn't mean I won't be coming back. Oh, later, Ivan. See you soonish, next time. Right, let me just watch these steps. A fun fact about medieval steps, not these ones, but for example, in the corners of the White Tower, this one. Those top bits were added by Henry VIII, by the way, just fun fact. Yeah, so there's spiral staircases and they're stone and they're titchy. They're like as if, I don't think everyone was a midget or anything, but there was definitely some, I don't think there was the obesity epidemic. Either way, they're always spiral and they're always uneven and you think to yourself, oh, come on, chaps. But it was because, even in houses, not houses, stately homes, because it was considered that if you lived there, you would know which of the steps were uneven, which were, you know, and if you were an invader slash, I don't know, army, whatever, just running up in there and killing people, you would fall down the stairs and crack your head open. This is to the memory of the Reverend Alexander John Forsyth, Minister of Belhelvie. Oh, Aberdeenshire. I was thinking, where's Belhelvie? In 1805, he conducted experiments in the Tower under the Master General of Ordnance. Experiments on what, bruv? Oh, and in 1807 invented the percussion system, which was adopted by the British Army in 1839. I hope the experiments were of a percussive nature. This tablet was erected in 1929, 122 years later, by admirers of his genius. Oh, they put genius in like a capital letter. And there's a carbine lock and a 3PDR lock, like a flint lock kind of business. But that's back in the day when Latin was still acceptable to just throw up in someone's face. But yep, just thought I'd just get distracted by that a minute. So, that's it. Well, this is the bloody tower. That is where actually the two princes were last seen. Like at the window, as it were, although their bodies, if it's them, were found. You see that wooden staircase leading up to the thingy? Halfway up there, there's a small entrance and a stone staircase, like I was saying. And underneath that staircase was found the bodies of two child/teenaged bodies. And the older of the two princes, who would have been Henry the... Oh... Would he have been Henry or Edward? Edward the Fifth? Oh, don't strike that off the record. Don't listen to me. But yeah, I feel like that's Edward the Fourth. Ah, he would have been someone. He would have been a contender. No, he was about to be king until his uncle went out. And he became Richard the Third, which EastEnders have used as rhyming slang for turd for quite some time. And also for lady, more recently, because a Richard is a bird and a bird is a female. Now you know. Right, this St Thomas's Tower that I've shown you previously was the residences on the first floor for Edward. So we're going to see that. That's Traitor's Gate. That Jane Grey is supposed to have come through there. The 9-Day Queen, who was supplanted by Mary Tudor, the Bloody Mary, as she was known to her not friends, as she was known to Protestants, I imagine. Right, so let's, that is so cute. Look at, I love a little door. I don't think that Daz and Mary are original graffitiists. I've got a feeling that anyone with a name like Daz is quite modern. This, I don't know. I'm on the fence about that one. I don't know, but I'll show you some proper ones after. I can't go in here, but well, I can just go into this bit. Oh no, the gate's open. Oh, look, there's a dude with a crossbow. Yeah, we did like a little bow and arrow or crossbow arrangement in those days. You see the window he's pointing to, that's one of the little slit type arrangements. I can't think of the name, that's terrible. What are they called? Oh, shucksy. I can't remember what they're called. But they're all over the gaff for defensive purposes, because obviously if you've got a little slit in the wall, you can stick your arrow out. You can place your bow and arrow into this slit, and you have a wide range of, aim. And the, people shooting back have got to be really good to get through that tiny little slot. So that's the reasoning. Yeah, this floor here that's Water Lane anyway, and that's where I was telling you the people were chained and left to drown, because that was the water at one stage. Right, here we go. I'm going to be a bit shushy because there's people about, and you'll be able to hear. So this is parts of the tower built by Edward I, and that was 1272 to 1307, and his father Henry III, who was 1216 to 72. So this is, I don't know if it's mirrored, but we are, so there's Traitor's Gate that I just showed you, but we were standing here, you see, we were in Water Lane, and that's St Thomas's Tower, which is where we now are, basically. That's the Thames up there. I started filming, remember I said to you, look, that's the cannon that was in the background. I was sitting here. So now that we know where we are,
much of the Tower of London
let's
today is due to Edward and his father, King Henry III. Together they expanded the fortress and created an impressive new palace within it. As you explore the medieval palace, you will see how it might have looked in the 1200s. You might even bump into one of its royal residents. First, let us introduce you to their stories.
I don't want to bump into one of them. It is the most haunted place in Britain, though.
Edward and his father Henry were descendants of William the Conqueror, the Norman Duke who invaded England in 1066. Edward and Henry were two powerful men, but two very different rulers. Henry was just 9 years old when he became king. He inherited a kingdom in crisis.
No kidding.
The country was at war. Many lords, or barons as they were known,
Little
were
door,
in
everyone.
rebellion over high taxes and royal demands.
This is just a postern. I don't know what this room was, but that's the Tower of London. Sorry, it isn't. It's Tower Bridge.
Despite this, Henry managed to hold on to power.
That's the new edge of the Thames that was built. There is graffiti, but I don't know that it's
He
original.
loved art and architecture and was very religious. He rebuilt Westminster Abbey into the magnificent church that stands today. Henry married Eleanor of Provence, and they enjoyed a long and happy life together. When Henry died, their firstborn son,
That greenery
Edward,
here
inherited the throne.
is the moat, as it was. It was filled with water as a defence. That.
Edward was a very different.
Do you know
type
what
of
I think
king.
this is?
He was tall and muscular, an advantage in war.
I think that's a
as his long
former
arms
toilet,
seemed
a
ready to
garderobe.
reach
I'm
with his
just
sword.
guessing.
Unlike
I mean,
his
it looks
father,
like it's been
he
used
was
as a
strong and
fireplace, but I
decisive,
think they just
a
burnt
warrior
out the
king. Edward used brutal action to
contents.
win and
I'm
keep
going to say
power.
contents,
He is often remembered as the hammer of
not
the Scots.
incontinence. Ba-dum.
In 1294,
Yeah,
he
so
stayed
that's-
in his rooms while preparing for war. Edward also did much to reform the
Can you hear?
kingdom,
Can you hear?
setting up a long-lasting legal system and establishing a parliament that is still recognisable today. Edward married Eleanor of Castile when they were both teenagers. It was a political partnership and a successful marriage. When Eleanor died, aged 49, he was heartbroken. It was 9 years before Edward married again to Margaret of France.
Okay, so this was the
Kings and
hall.
queens didn't stay at the
Sorry, I
Tower
think you'd
of
probably
London
rather
for
listen
long,
to them.
as the royal court travelled around the country. However, castles were important symbols of royal power.
We had a load
and
in
wealth.
those days, look at them.
William the Conqueror strategically sited the White Tower to dominate the city and control the river.
Told you that.
Edward and his father Henry spent a lot of money adding to
This was the
and improving
fireplace.
the fortress.
So that was,
Henry strengthened the tower,
toilet.
adding an outer stone wall.
I mean, I'm
reinforced by
confidently
11
asserting
new
that as
towers.
a non-architecturally trained historian.
Lanthorn Tower. He also added a great hall, kitchens and stables.
I don't think this is original, but that's just a... Let's see.
Edward later added a second hall.
So it says ER.
defended by a vast
Now,
new moat,
obviously, because of my
creating
age
stronger.
and place in
He
history, I
also
associate
added
that
the
with
imposing new
Elizabeth.
water gate, below
Let's
where
see.
we're standing now.
So the R always stands for vagina, or, you know,
Both kings increased taxes to pay
Rex,
for their
so that
building
means king or
work.
queen,
Edward built
or
St.
queen or
Thomas's
king.
Tower, partly using money raised by forcing English Jews to pay higher taxes, and exploiting
I
his
just
power
can't
over
make
the
it out.
Jewish
Oh.
community. Like kings before him, he also took advantage of the
No, I
tower's
still can't.
position on the River
I
Thames,
can make out the
tapping
maker.
boats that carried oats into the
Well,
city.
I can confidently assert that it's not Edward. It's not his
Imagine coming
period.
up the river by boat and being confronted by this impressive new palace built out over the river.
Oh, the soldiers and yeomen lived here from the 1600s.
Statues.
It was restored in the mid-1860s. And the windows, some of the windows were added.
Discover what it might have been like to live here.
It was home to the Deputy Governor, responsible for the Crown Jewels. And they were in Wakefield Tower at that time. That's someone who actually lived here. She's called Lady Younghusband. She lived here with her husband, Major General Sir George Younghusband, who was keeper of the Jewel House from during the First World War to during the Second World War. Bit of medieval music, peeps. Right, that's a different style,
Built
obviously.
over 700 years ago for the warrior king, Edward I. Much of the Tower of London's appearance today is due
This is the earliest image of St Thomas's Tower, because of course it's not part of the original, and it's from the 15th century poems, illustrated I'm guessing, of Charles, Duke of Orleans, as it were. It says, you are standing, not you and me, between the King's Hall and the bedchamber. You would have been surrounded by courtiers, I'd have been surrounded by security. The Queen had her own bedroom elsewhere, sensible. There's a chapel over the water, we'll see that shortly. So this says, Edward I, like most medieval nobles, was an itinerant monarch, meaning he moved around all the time. He had many castles and lodgings and only stayed in the tower for a total of 53 days all told. And he had it built. And on St George's Day, which is England's patron saint, 2 years on the trot, the ghost of Thomas a Becket, who was allegedly mistakenly murdered due to an inopportune comment by the king at the time, who was Henry was it Henry IV? Stephen? Henry? Get them muddled up. Either way, he said, this geezer, he's driving me mental, who's going to rid me of this knob, basically. And 4 of the knights got up and went and killed him in a church, which was... Anyway, his ghost, a corporeal version, i.e. touchy-feely, came and tapped his sceptre on the wall while this was being built, and it remodelled, and it fell down, apparently, twice. Right. Edward's a recreation. It does say what it would probably have looked like. So they didn't have any embroiderers on hand to tapestry it up. There's the 3 lions that you will recognise from the England football shirt, of course. This is some sort of game. I think that's supposed to be a lion smoking a pipe, or is that his tongue? I don't know. 2 boxes which are beautiful. A book which I don't think it's the Bible. I can't see that far. Candles, etc. Seat. Oh, I like this bedside table. I mean, Ottoman. I don't think the Ottomans were even known about by then, but there's another lion. It's all a bit royal. But the bed looks quite comfy, to be fair. Although I don't think it would have had a match. It's like a palisade or whatever you call it. Not an aid for a palace, a palisade, like a straw stuffed in something. Sorry, I just found a card on the thing. Right. Wallpaper and everything the geezer had. And he could look out onto the moat. So he was jutting out, like he was over the river. If you see what for the 53 days that he decided to deign. Right, remember I said about spiral staircases? This is one with my shadow on it. This is one of the windows that I meant. So you stick your this is not for crossbows. That's your bow, and then you can shoot people. See that the bridge there? I don't know if you can because I can't see what you can see. But now it's the exit from the tower. But at the time, I mean, I think they could come and go, if you were royal. If you were invading, you couldn't come in anyway. Right. Another door. This It's very pretty. Right, let's just not die on some stone staircase. So this is a throne room. Another view, quite a nice one, of Tower Bridge, which was built in a style aesthetically similar, obviously in keeping with the tower, which massively predates it. This is a private chapel, or royal chapel. How beautiful is that? It says here, by tradition, Henry VI died here on the 21st day, 21st of May, 1471. I just love the windows. And you can hear the Latin Mass, I think. Look at the floor even. It's got the lions. And I think what became the Duke of Wales, that coat of arms as it were, and others that I don't recognise, which are probably Frenchish. So there's that. That's another view of St Stephen's Tower and Traitor's Gate. That's where we were standing when I started talking about this. I'm going to read to you what's on the wall. Not graffiti, it's just, in 1471, so that's what I just told you about Henry. Another King Henry died as a prisoner at the Tower during the Wars of the Roses. And please, I hope you've heard of those. That is one of the bloodiest periods in English history, full stop. Like the amount of Englishmen who died. So it says there are two versions of events. His enemies said he died of grief after hearing his son had been killed in battle, and his friends said he was stabbed to death whilst praying. There's a bit of a difference, I think you'll agree. Since 1923, the ceremony of the lilies and roses has been held here every year on the evening of the 21st of May, the day of Henry's death, attended by representatives from Eton College and King's College, Cambridge. Both of these institutions were established by unfortunate Henry VI. So, the War of the Roses were Lancaster and York, the houses of, as it were. Henry VII, not the one who got killed, Henry VII, who was the first Tudor king, he, I guess directly, he was monarch almost straight after the Wars of the Roses, and what he did was pretty clever. He married, what was her name now? Was it Elizabeth? I don't want to get it wrong. He married a lady, so both of the royal contenders, as it were, had different roses, white and red, representing their households. And he married a girl, like Romeo and Juliet style shizzle. And his son, Henry VIII, you've heard of him, actually his older brother, Prince Arthur, who would have been king, who died, he incorporated both roses and put them inside each other and put them everywhere. It was like a big PR job to kind of placate, to unify the country essentially, but to legitimise his claim, because his claim wasn't very strong, to be fair, but he was incredibly paranoid and efficient. His signature is on like the most banal, just like, I don't know, the maid's wages and all that. He was involved in everything, and he also extorted. He would take insurance money from nobles to, good behaviour bonds, and then force them into, or just falsely accuse them of bad behaviour and take all their dough. And by the time he popped his clogs, everyone was like, oh. And then Henry VIII, they didn't just go, oh. But Henry VIII came along and he was just playboy time. He was like, he got rid of all of that. He repealed untold of his father's laws. They're kind of implying that he thought they were rubbish as well. But again, that was many years, not many, but it was 100 or so years later. So this is Henry III we're discussing in this room. Henry VI died of it. Edward, right, this is the Wakefield Tower. King Henry III, Edward's father, ordered this tower to be built in 1220, part of a grand new riverside palace for when the king and queen stayed at the tower. This room was separated from the small private chapel that I just showed you by a wooden screen. The painted decoration, textile screen and throne are all modern replicas, of course, copied from the real objects, manuscripts, illuminations and descriptions in documents from the 1200s. The stone vaulted ceiling was added in the 1800s. But still pretty. Right, it does look a bit Islamic. I don't know if I wanted to say that, but I just said it. And what? Right, another door. I love a door. And another spiral staircase. Right, let's do it, chaps. I've been here before, I can't remember. God, you'd never want the toilet to be upstairs if you lived here. Oh, what? Ah, we're exiting. Stage left. Oopsie. Right. That's the White Tower. That's where the ravens, a lot of them live, not all of them. One of them lives indoors, just by Queen's house, because it's not silly, that one. That's the Thames, the river. Again, Tower Bridge. That up there, that thing pointing up is called the Shard, and so is the rest of it. So, in the early 1300s, the palace that we're standing on extended onto the front lawn that I just showed you. Let's see, we were just here in the King's apartments. I'm thinking, so that's the tower in front of us. Oh yeah, so there was no grass. It was just all buildings, because that tower, that bastion rather, there is this one here. So yeah, there was a little walkway, and then more, oh no, sorry, the walkway is behind it. Then there was, yeah, just stuff, basically, a lot of stuff. Anyway, I find myself upstairs. I mean, I can't remember what's in the rest of it. I will read the comments in a minute, if I've got any battery left, to be fair. Why am I trying to get my sunglasses to find out what I'm doing? You'll have to forgive me. Do you know, I've got something to take back from to the shop. Looks like they've emptied it. There's nothing in the windows. Right, I'm okay for a moment. Right, let's have a look at some questions. Right, the Great Commission. I feel like you must be. Oh, Fools and Horses. I don't know. I mean, I know Fools and Horses very well, but yeah. Sorry, I haven't been paying attention to the chat. But yeah, I liked it. He's a very, very good actor. You know that people are, in my estimation, like very good actors, like John Candy. You know, like you can be laughing a lot, and then all of a sudden you just want to cry. Like they just switch it up, like in yes. Right, let's not go on to modern movie trivia. This is Lanthorn Tower, which was originally 1220 to 1238 constructed. Then it was demolished in 1777 and rebuilt in the 1800s. What's happening, David? Right, let's get down these little titchy, uneven steps. I'm not a barbarian invader. You know what I mean? I don't need this kind of booby trap. Right. Alright, let's have a look, see. Okay. Gamelion. It's gilded and enamelled copper bowl, which may have been used at a great royal feast. It was made in Limoges, French, Limoges, Western France, famous for its rich marble tableware, English kings imported luxury goods from all over Europe. You say English, William was French. King owned a load of chisel. On average, Henry III, into old age, made 80 moves a year. Like, just trotted around. That's 80, that's 1 and a bit a week. This is a 13th to 14th century jug. You're welcome. Half a bowl. Oh no, Andalusian bowl. What? I don't know if it's meant to be. No, it's broken. I was just double checking in case they just got rid of spoons and just slurped. That's cute. That's a stylus before they even had touch screens. That was what the scribes used to scratch marks into the waxed writing tablets and then be written up on animal skins or whatever, I think. I don't know if you're going to see this with the reflection, but those are coins from the reign of Edward I. Those are worth 4 pence. Now, they are 2 large silver groats. They appeared for the first time in Edward's reign. There's the smaller penny and a farthing, which is a quarter penny. They all have the same design, king's face, looking straight ahead, and they were produced at the Mint, which was based in, you guessed it, Tower London. Right. These are seal matrices, or matrix. So the figure of a knight on horseback was a popular symbol. I mean, the Templars had two knights on one horseback to display, you know, the poverty which was in the title, the poor knights, or soldier knights, of course. Right. It represented heroic military virtues. And this seal matrix is made from jet and is inscribed with the name of the owner, William Fitzhamon. So for anyone who's, I don't know, not aware, I don't want to burst your bubble, but Fitz usually means, as a prefix to a name, it initially or originally implied like a bastard child, like a non, what do you call it? Yeah, the child of not a marriage, a mistress type arrangement. So Fitzsimmons would be the child of Simmons, while his wife wasn't looking type thing. These are playing pieces, and the 2 little dice. Oh, so cute. And that was, they were used to play tables, which was a popular game. There's some people playing chess, although the way they do the perspective, yeah, it's a bit dodgy. That is a chess piece. That was a big old board. Look at that. I don't even know what chess piece is it, for goodness sakes. Let me just have a little. I think it's a bishop, but it's surrounded by stuff. Yeah, right. Oh, it's a little toy knight. Oh, so cute. Circa 1300. Oh. I mean, yeah. Oh, this is a portable altar piece, as in just make your own little altar wherever you go. Take it with you. Like, you know, portable. Bit of Mary, bit of Jesus, a couple of angels. That's a chalice, obviously. I don't want to insult your intelligence. Circa 1200. BTW. Right. I want to go downstairs now. Yeah. Okay, right. That is Cradle Tower. That's where the Catholic priest escaped from, over the wall into what was then the water. Back in the day, he asked them for an orange and a feather, as you do, and he done the invisible ink thing. It's quite sweet, really. And his compadre, the other papist over the road or whatever, sent him some, I don't know, material, and he legged it over the wall. Right, this is Salt Tower. That's an axeman. It's a recreation of an axeman with very curly shoes. That's the dustbin. Just throwing it out there. That's another view of Tower Bridge with Tower of London's chisels in the way and a tree. This tower is Salt Tower, 1240 construction. That is obviously a fireplace. Okay, so here is some graffiti. This one, it says Harry Clark in the year 1553, Jesus Christ, but it says it in Latin. You can see, I don't know if it's mirrored, so this here, I don't know if you can see because of the reflective. It says month of May 1552, Humphrey Michael. This one, it says Christopher Luty, May 15th, held on unnamed charges. And this one here, Humphrey Holt, 1553, imprisoned for reporting certain words touching the King's Majesty. That's a made-up charge if ever I heard one. Touching the King's Majesty. Not him, his words. Okay, all around the room, traces of the historic plaster. This would have been painted originally bright green. And from the 19th century, yeoman warders lived here. That's pretty, but I'm so sorry you can't see it properly. So this here, it says Edward Hurst, 1587, January 24th. Guard of MM wrote this. I got his guard to do it for him. No, Edward Hurst. Michael Moody was accused of trying to murder Elizabeth I and has himself left an inscription on the opposite wall. Okay. But Elizabeth was also famously paranoid, although sometimes with good reason. Hugh Draper of Bristow, I'm guessing Bristol, I don't know, 27th day January, 156 something. Draper, who was an innkeeper from Bristol, I was right, was accused of sorcery, as you do. He left the detailed astrological carving nearby, which we're going to find. So, William, there. There's loads of them. Okay, let's see the astrological. This says, fear fortune's flattery, frail of felicity, despair not in danger, God is defender. Obviously in Latin. Oh no, it's in English. It's just very pretty writing. Okay. This has no transliteration. It says quod Deus omen, and then it's scratched out. My Latin is not good enough. No, not me, mate. It says king. Yeah, that says God. Yeah, I can't make it out, unfortunately. This is and it's like an etching of a wounded foot, which is, it says here, a Catholic devotional symbol of obviously the wounds of Christ. Maria, it says, which is, Mary. Henry Walpole, priest of the Society of Jesus in Latin. Walpole was captured on a secret mission to England in 1593. Up to no good. Well, obviously they thought so, and they took him. IHS, we know that as a Catholic. That's a Jesuit left that symbol. What does that say? Glasses are probably an option at this stage. Is it in English? No, I see homo key. No, even their letters are not. No, I don't know. That's Latin, but there's no translation. Someone else did that. Right, another Maria there. IHS Maria, so Catholic Maria specifically. Okay, so whilst Walpole was the Jesuit was here, captured in 1593, he carved the Latin names of St. Paul and St. Peter, also Jerome, Ambrose, Augustine even, and Gregory, who were like church fathers. So that's him, Henry Walpole. That says Richard William, which would have been William, or Williams. Although you can't really see it, to be fair. There's another wounded foot with like a, not a Templar cross, but kind of an IHS there. That could be a warder. Harmon Barrister, 1577, WADR. Is it? No idea what that is. It's just etched. So John Balliol, King of Scotland, was prisoner here from 1296 to 99. Henry Walpole, who we've just talked about, the Jesuit, and Hugh Draper, who I just showed you his stuff. He was accused of sorcery. That is guaranteed a fit up, but I'm just filling you in. Also sodomy, sorcery, and what's the other one? Like sedition, you know, just basically against the king's doodah. That's another AHS, I can't bend over that. We've seen it. That's based on the letters of Christ's name from the Latin. That is such a shame about the lighting. It says, oh, I thought I was in their way then. It says, it's in several different languages and signed and dated William Thayer, who was just showing off basically, 1576. He was on suspicion of treason and he was released. Go on, son. I have no clue. I couldn't even read it, even. Like, it needs... What I did with the last night is I took photos and then I changed the... like I edited the, what do you call it, exposure kind of... contrast, that'll do. So, Michael Moody, who I mentioned earlier, that's his name, clearly. Don't know. I see an I, a 1 and a 5 maybe. I don't know. Oh, someone loves E. John Baptiste, and then it says Christopher. In a minute, it will tell me on the little thingy. Christopher Norton, imprisoned in 1570 for plotting to assassinate Elizabeth I. So she said. This globe may have been carved by Hugh Draper, the astrologer, because it does look quite snazzy, doesn't it? Look at that, it's carved out the bleeding frame and everything. Well, I mean, obviously they had time on their hands, but still. 1374, Elion. Don't know who you are, but sorry, Lon. John Monington, imprisoned in 1554 for assaulting an MP. Go on, John. And then John Lyon, 1574, accused of importing a Catholic book. Shocker. And Thomas King, imprisoned in 1550, who was potentially a Cornish rebel. He was definitely Cornish, I reckon. Who are you? Francis Bertie. It says, this pierced heart, a reminder of the wounds of Christ, was left by a Jesuit. It's inscribed with the IHS. This symbol and the MA, which follow it, is an abbreviation for Jesus and Mary. So, I don't know where he is, because he ain't the Jesuit. But, it's shocking. I think we're running out of graffiti, to be honest. There's one more. Oh, that's me. I knew I'd seen it before and I couldn't find it. Right, you see that? I mean, how long did it take to... Just come on. Hugh Draper of Bristol made this THYS sphere, spelled incorrectly for nowadays, the 30th day of May, anno 1561. When Hugh Draper of Bristol dated this sphere, he had been in the Tower for just over 14 months, accused of sorcery. In the same month, the lieutenant reported that Draper was very sick. The sphere is surrounded by the signs of the zodiac. The grid on the left shows the planetary influence over every hour of the day and week. So this geezer had it memorised anyway. You see this? All the numerical values. And then those are the signs of the zodiac around there. Those are the the correlatory, I don't know, lines I'm going to call them because I'm not an astrologer or a sorcerer. But I'm pretty confident that neither was Draper. But as I said, Elizabeth had cause to be nervous, let's say, with her family tree. Right. Diddy little stairs. Look, just Diddy. Look how, I don't know if you could, I don't know if to put my foot on it, but it's Diddy. And my trainers are dirty. Right. Oh. Right, we're now, there's the elephant. You see? That's where I kind of started, sitting just out of shot there. Right, I'm going to walk along this bit, and then I feel like my battery's going to be done. But I want to at least see what you're chatting. I wanted to take you to Stephen Lane and do a proper video, because my battery's always buggering me, as it were. The weather looks ominous, or English, as I like to call it. It is going to tiddle its way down. Look, you see, we changed governments. The minute the lunatics took over the asylum, even the weather went crap. It's an omen, I tell you. It's important, not important, important. Oh, giggly girls behind me. What more could I ask for? Right, little diddy window and scaffolding chisel. Because I don't think they had that shade of yellow. And they're very skinny people.
We are trying, I promise.
We'll let these ladies pass, I think.
Okay,
Right, so
on the wooden
it's just some stuff. If you're American, I do apologise for what I just thought. So there's some shiz. I think that's like I don't know, it's like one of those little, oh, it's a little door. Look, I'm this big. I love a little door. I don't know why. I just like it. I just like little doors, don't judge me. Oh yeah, I was going to take you in All Hallows as well, the earliest Saxon arch, at least in London, South England. I've got one other phone, but it's only partially charged. Look, I remember the humours I told you about, they're everywhere. This is like obviously a temporary structure, but this is for defence. And you can hear the sounds of battle, like being piped in. So this was rebuilt also in 1800s, Constable Tower. That geezer's winding up his crossbow. Oh, this looks very modern. In 1381, all this stuff was nicked and they're still not over it. They're still wanting to know if you know the name of the person or persons responsible. That's nice. So that's a recreation of what it looked like. Look at the fields. Look at the fields. What I just showed you with the ice cream van and all that. Here's my shadow. Right, was right there. Fields, mate. And look, that's one of the gates of London, like in the background there. Oh, all right, now the lights go off. Thanks for that. I don't know if there's a button. I don't really hear. Oh, so where are we? That's Traitors Gate there, and we were just up there. We've walked all the way along here, and now we are at the top part over there, that corner, and there's the sound of. So the Peasants' Revolt of 1381. That's the peasants, little people on the outskirts. Sorry. The peasants seized the So, Simon Sudbury, Archbishop of Canterbury, he had his head lopped off over the road because he tried to bring in poll tax, which we did have another few centuries later again, but we're not big on taxes. We're quite big on avoiding them. But yeah, that's the side of the Jewel House. The barracks, Waterloo Barracks. Alright, let's show you some shizzle. Wartime executions. So Karl Hans Lodi, who was German, executed 1914. Karl Friedrich Müller, he's Russian, or maybe Friedrich, executed in 1915. Wilhelm Johann Roos, Dutch, also 1915. There's a lot of it in the war. Hallich P.M. Janssen, who was Dutch, 1915. All of them 1915. Ernst Voldemar Mellin, Josef Jacobs. Oh, that's 1941. He's not a part of these 12. There's a Peruvian called Ludovico Hurwitz E. Zender, Albert Mayer, Irving Guy Reese, whose real name was unknown. That was his pseudonym, or assumed like spy undercover name. George, what's your name, mate? Trangut, Brecon, Fernando Bushman, and Augusto Alfredo Rogan, and they're like little brass depictions. Memoranda. This is all secret shiz. So there's evidence for prosecution. So invisible ink, you know, all of this stuff is used. So you get the lemon juice. Oh, it moves. Oh, that's unexpected. Lemon juice, you put it in there, you use the little doodah. That's your tin for, I don't know. That's quite sweet. That's a little, like a stamp, I guess. Yep. Recreations of stuff. Just stuff there. Spies shot at the tower, yeah. So we just saw all of those dudes. And that's X marks the spot, literally. And they were shot just over that wall there. One of the last spies shot here was given a seat because he parachuted into England, his first mission, broke his ankle because he wasn't a parachutist, and was captured. And so they gave him a chair, and they've still got the chair somewhere here. And they just put a little, you know, pinned a handkerchief to his shirt so that they could aim properly. And his daughter visited sometime later. Like as a visitor, and asked to see the spot. It's a kind of coat of arms. Someone would. May. Oh my god. No, sorry. Just don't know. Right, I'm coming to the end of my battery soon. Right, so this is all yeoman stuff. You can look back at other videos. I have gone all around here. And I remember my battery ran out in the First World War. Exhibit, so let me try and get back there before it happens again. Some gibbons, are they gibbons? I think they're gibbons. Oh, come on man, my legs. Bro. Right. Over there is part of the original London Wall. You see it by the white coach? Some of that wall is 200 AD. That's the Gherkin, St Mary's Axe, the rounded modern architectural thingy. That is a gargoyle, that lion, because of its proximity to the modernised, like the Victorian water sewage. No, I saw that plumbing. How to? Right, these stairs. Someone's going to break their neck. You've seen all this in a different video. These are all the animals. So for 600 years, the tower was home to a menagerie. I don't think they'd coined the word zoo by then. And London Zoo, which is famous, was created in order to house them when they were all unceremoniously chucked out. A lion had someone's arm off. I know, shocker. Can you believe it? Them lions, eh? And again, I will tell you, because it's just my most fun piece of trivia, that the first, the elephant who came over in 1255 as to Edward I as a gift, as a nuisance by the French king. They fed him a gallon of red wine. I'm probably just jealous. The day he didn't survive that long. These are so cute. Oh, these little houses are so. I would like to live, you know, obviously, in the woods, in a cottage, like a little thingy. But second choice is a little medieval-looking house, and it's called a bastion. It says North Bastion. Imagine that was your address. Anyhow, right. Let's liven up now for the war. Look smart. I don't know if it's mirrored for you. Sorry if it is. So do you remember I told you that the building to our left is Waterloo Barracks? So the Duke of Wellington, Arthur, one of his famous victories was Waterloo. You know, you may have heard of it in association with Bonaparte, Napoleon to his friends. That's the back door, in case anyone's casing the joint. I'm only joking. What a silly thing to say. Those are grotesques. Those are not. Oh, I don't know. No, that's. Yeah. They're not. Gargoyles are used to spout water. But how could you have it coming out of a human? No, you couldn't. Right, anyhow, that over there is Trinity House. This part behind this tree is Trinity Square. Even though it's not a square, don't ask questions. Your head will hurt. That's the old London Wall part of it, AD 200. Already mentioned that. That is Tower Hill over there. The spot of execution for most of the famous deceased is behind that tree in front of Trinity House. I might get there before the battery goes. One never knows. Because my battery starts performing about 20%. It says, whoa! It even switches itself off, and then when you plug it back in, it goes, no, only joking, we're only on 20. I don't know why it does it. Just for laughs. Just for bants. Right, first of all, here we go, chaps. Oh, they're all dead. Oh, bless them. They're only babies as well, most of them. Look at their moustaches. Oh, love them. My great-grandparents, the men were involved in that conflict. They thought it would be over by Christmas. It wasn't. So there's some propaganda or recruitment poster. Those are some of the new recruits in the moat that I showed you. Those are a lot of new recruits in the moat. This is like a modern art thingy, that's a modern banker, obviously. And these are superimposed onto the modernity, like same spot that they were in there, but now they're on the. I think that's quite touching, actually. Poignant, maybe is the word. And there's some more similar. Like that's the original Scots Guards in front of the barracks that I've shown you. And that's a Royal Fusilier, I'm guessing, is it? No, that's another Guardsman. Yeah. Scots Guard. That's the Western Front being dug, the trenches. Oh my goodness. Look at this little nipple. It's a Boy Scout, obviously, the two of them. I've got photos of my family in very similar poses. There's a modern Boy Scout with the same photo kind of thing, replacing one of the others. Artists' rifles. They look a bit arty. And that's the Chapel Royal that's the execution places kind of here where I was showing you. Those are the Welsh Guards, drummers. And that's a modern iteration of that. Artists' rifles, doing their signalling training practice. And that's 100 years ago. It's over 100 years. It's 110 years. Excuse my French. So those guilty of espionage were killed by firing squad, as we saw, and those were the first executions within the walls since 1747, when those 11 men were shot. Yeah, I've got quite a lot of videos that I need to make. They're piling up now. I'm going to do execution spots around London. I'm going to visit a Templar, a very ancient historic Templar site, hopefully this week. I'll put that on Patreon anyway, for anyone keeping score. The history of pubs, that would be a fun one. Oh, I say that, it will be informative and educational, obviously. These stairs, they just love a little booby trap. This is so cute. This is for the residents, obviously. That's the side of the Chapel Royal, which has 1,700 bodies interred beneath it, as we all know by now. Kay's on a loop. Right. Gelato will be sold from that cart, but I shan't be buying it. That's the little midget door. I love it. That's the side of the chapel. Oh, just love a little door. But I'm not allowed. Geezer's just pulled a nice lolly out of his pocket. That's not going to end well. Oh, it's closed off anyway. Well, I think it might be chucking out time. Yeah, because there's zero queue. Let me just show you the Royal Guard. That's what they're called. He's just got his rifle and he's doing some stuff. Here we go. He's testing his shoes. Here he comes, boys. Yep, they're definitely still shoes. She's not doing the same thing. She just happens to be passing. And that is like a functioning automatic rifle in his hand. Yep, the soles of them shoes are a-okay. And all of these cannons are the property, obviously, of the Royal Armouries, which is, even though it says Leeds, it's not in Leeds, it's in Essex. That's a £6 bronze, 1813. Oh, there he is. Yep, they still work. It wouldn't be the same with trainers on, I must admit. Yeah, so it's telling, that's a little informational about the Duke of Wellington and the bronze £6 that were captured at Waterloo. They are individually named and were cast in various parts of Napoleon's European Empire in 1813. So they're the spoils of war. They're actually filthy froggy, no, joking. They are French in origin. There's the one who gets to stand still a little bit. His shoes are absolutely fine. Oh, there's some yeomen. 3 of them. Yeoman, of course, as you all know, means it's a different word for free man, born not into slavery or into service or into serfdom, peasantry, whatever. Free man, as in do what you want. My battery's going. I love you all. I shall talk to you soon. All right, press the button, Kay. All right, laters. Love you all. Bye.